Hello.
Lola.
¿No la Javi besito?
Ese es el video
Hi.
de mi antes. No.
Hello.
How is everyone? Are we muted? Can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Hi. So I got my book, I got my wine, and I got the cutest little easel to paint on. So I'm so excited. How's everyone doing?
Okay.
So we're going to be chatty tonight. I like that. I recommend wine. It helps. So catch me up. How we doing? How's the week been?
Felix wants to say bye. We're trying to get
Hi,
go ahead.
Felix. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Good?
Say bye.
Bye.
I hope you
Have
sleep
a
well.
Good night.
You too.
You wait.
How old is he now? 4? 5?
He'll be 4 next month.
4. Yeah. He's too cute. He's growing so fast. Well, yay. So, again, how's everyone doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, I feel like the energy's been heavy a lot lately for just in general, but a lot of people are talking about just being drained and being tired and
Yeah, I've been actually sleeping really good, but I'm waking up tired.
yeah. That last week with the full moon, like I just yeah. I mean, it's typical for me, but I was having a hard time getting decent sleep. I just realized I don't have a plate to put this on. One second. Wow. Well, yay. So what do we think about the book?
I have to say, I loved that book. At
Yeah.
first, I was a little put off with the
Why?
first chapter.
Yeah,
I think because of the way she was speaking, or maybe it just came off so abrupt. Like I thought she was going to insult people at the very beginning. And I'm like,
she's very sarcastic.
well,
She's definitely got a style.
yeah, yeah, and no, and that's fine. And I learned to appreciate it, and I love it now. I absolutely love the book. But when it first threw me off, I'm like, what on earth? And that was the audiobook. So she was, reading it. I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
I forget. I
hmm.
forget everyone's doing audio. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just imagine her voice. So what's her, is she like got a deep voice or is it when you say it's off-putting?
No, I think it was what she was saying.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
At the very beginning, she said something, and I'm like, is she insulting people?
Well, you don't really like sarcasm, so
Beth is sarcastic. Seriously? We
okay,
used to
so
be
you
sarcastic.
don't like it when I do it then.
Oh my. Anyway, anyway, but it also kind of I'm like, am I prepared for this? Because my dad's in hospice.
Oh,
Oh,
So
yeah.
wow.
yeah. So I'm like, but as I continue to go through the book, because I took a deep breath for a minute. After that first chapter, I took a deep breath.
Yeah.
Do I really
She
want to go
starts
through
strong, doesn't she?
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, I loved it, but it also made me appreciate everything she explained in detail. She
Yes.
got the babies and what?
I can't see.
Oh, you want to sit over here?
No.
And she talked about, different people and people that, came already bloated and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
it got really graphic, didn't it?
yeah,
Which
it did.
which is interesting though too, because the whole point I think she's
No,
trying to make from the beginning is we're so removed from it. Like we are so removed from
Yeah.
decomposition, which is a natural part of life. Like we are organic, if anything, you know? Hmm. Yeah, go on. What were you also? I'm curious what it was like for you. Oh, you're muted, hon. I'm curious what it is like reading that with your father in that season.
We're battling a barking dog, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
well, that's what was interesting is as I'm going through this, because I know at any minute I could lose him.
Yeah,
But we've always been, me as a spiritual person has always been about cremating, cremating, cremating.
interesting.
I don't believe in, well, it's not that I don't believe in it. I just think it's such a waste. because you're taking all the insides out, and this is before she went into details. I'm going based on only what I know or what I think I know.
Like traditional burial or like
Like
embalming?
embalming, are you
Yep.
saying?
Yeah, embalming. Yeah. I mean, because ever since I was a child, I've been to so many funerals, it's not even funny. And
Yeah.
you see these people and they're not real. You know, you look at them even as a child, and then you touch them, and I'm like, they're squishy, you know,
Yeah.
and then you
It's
kiss them because it's the last time supposedly you're going to see them. And I hold their hand.
Supposedly.
well,
Well,
if you're spiritual.
right.
I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting
Thank you.
down.
So I found it, it really made me be even more comfortable with my decision. Well, it's not my decision. We all decided way back years ago that we were all going to be cremated. I am so much more comfortable with the cremation now than I was
Yeah.
before. And that's what I appreciate this book. I appreciate the books that you have chosen so far.
I'm
But
glad
this
you're enjoying them.
by
Good.
far has really blown me away. Only because I'm right in smack in the middle of it. And
Yeah.
oh my God. And at the very, I don't know if you got this part yet, but when she lost her own grandmother.
Yes. Towards
Yeah.
the end.
Oh.
Oh,
And I could just see myself doing the same thing, you know, because you're in the moment and then you don't think about it and you wish you would have done things differently.
yeah.
I did that. I did that already once, you know, saving my father's life when perhaps he would have gone, you know, a year ago. So I put myself in her position. I'm like, oh, but in her situation, it was how, you know, even though she's in it, she didn't do what she felt she should have done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that
Really
moment was
standing up
crucial
for
for me as
herself
well.
or what she knew.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
really speaks to the like her testament of how ingrained and what a machine the modern death system is, right? Like
Yeah.
it's curious, like when she said they embalmed her even when we asked them not to. Like it's just done, and you know they're going to charge her for it. So
Right,
it's like
right.
it's curious, but this is what I kind of want to emulate in my writing. I was talking to Sarah about this, like the humor on top of like the sprinkling of history with the sprinkling of her own, perceptions and like considerations and stuff. I really love how she put it together.
I
Oh,
do too. I do too. I just couldn't stop listening. I
yeah.
loved it.
And
I
it's
loved
fascinating because I think we're so removed from it. So like literally just a lot of the little there was just so many little nuggets in there. What was the one? There was a famous woman had died, and oh, the 50-foot tall woman from the movie, and she was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
desiccated in her house, was it? Like just
Mhm.
they found her a
For
year
like
late.
a year. Yeah.
God, that's insane to me. But death is the great equalizer. We're alive, we die, but we don't feature that and think about that. And not that we need to more so, but at the end of the book, she pulls it together talking about how death, mortality is what drives us at the end, right? Psychology all says the same thing. Like that's what drives our creativity, you know? Hmm.
I don't think exactly what you just said right there, because I was going to bring up the same point. I think that right there really solidified how short of a time we have. Because
Yeah.
if we stop to think about all the time we've wasted doing stupid things, it really puts things in perspective.
Yes, 100%. Like what really has value in the end.
Right. Yep. So I love your books. Brilliant. I
Good.
really
No, that makes me happy that you're enjoying them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is definitely my favorite one so far.
Yeah.
I loved actually everything you were just talking about, like the humor blended with the history and all of those other things. I kind of thought this book would be triggering for me. My
Curious.
mother actually died a year ago Monday.
Oh, babe, I'm sorry.
So it was actually kind of affirming, like reading just the parts where she was talking about how we just keep people alive forever for no reason.
Yes.
Because I pretty much let my mother choose to die. She had a pretty horrible disease. And I've always wondered, like, should I have done more to keep her alive or whatever? But like
Mm.
reading this, I'm like, okay, maybe I was right. Maybe we made the right decisions.
Do you mind talking a little about that? Like, not to open,
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely.
what was the disease? Was it cognitive or?
No, she had ALS.
Okay, I'm not familiar.
So it is a neuro degenerative disease. Basically, your body stops, or I'm sorry, your brain stops telling your body how to do functions,
Mhm.
and you just kind of slowly lose like one body part after the other.
Wow.
In her case, it started in her throat. So she wasn't able to talk, and then she wasn't able to eat. So, it all happened pretty quickly.
Wow. It did happen quickly though. Or like the way it affected her.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow, that's intense. No, I definitely, the older I get, the more I wonder, like, I see people, and obviously a lot's tied to lifestyle, but a lot of it is genetic, and you just don't know what's going to show up, in your
Yeah.
family line and stuff. And is even though we spend, like she said, millions of dollars every year to,
Mhm.
as a nation to like keep ourselves youthful and, vibrant, it is what it is, right? Hmm.
I thought it was interesting how she pointed out that the people researching how to extend life and that like fear death the most are always white privileged men
Yeah.
because they want the privilege to continue. And I thought
Keeping
that
their
was
power.
very interesting how they fear death.
That says a lot, doesn't it? And the events this week too, it's curious to see. I don't know, like death does affect every part of our life, whether we realize it or not, it's
Yeah.
always there looming, like she says. But I like this. I am very much of the mindset that, what is it? I forget. Maybe it was Harry Potter, but like greeting death as an old friend or whatever that
Mhm.
line. But that idea of I'm alive, I'm born, so I have to die. So it's a matter. Now, again, I've never been put in a life-threatening situation. So we'll see what that's like when it kicks up. You know what I mean? I've been in close calls and stuff, but yeah, when that mortality really hits. What did we what did we think about the graphic? You already touched a little on it, Adriana, but my kitty wants up here so bad. Come here. I
Aw.
don't have space, but we'll try. And then he's going to get hair all over the painting. What did you guys think about the how
The gore.
visceral?
I I never used to have an issue with gore or like, but I actually read a horror right before I read this that was quite gory. Um, and I don't know, I never used to be like weird about death, I guess, but having a child completely changed that.
Yeah, I can't even
And
imagine, literally.
like the fear that I'm going to die and he's going to like live a whole life without me is terrifying. And I don't know when that goes away because
It doesn't, I'm sure, as a parent. Can you
I it doesn't go away.
Well, I mean, as you get older and you see your children have their own family, and then you start to loosen up a little
acceptance?
bit.
Because I was talking to my best friend who has two kids, and after her first, and our two boys are exactly a month apart. So we went through the whole thing at the same time. And still are, I guess. We're going through the same stages with them at the same time.
Mm.
And she still, like, I would say that her fear is definitely more potent than mine, but it's still in the back of my head. So reading this was challenging because it's something I try not to confront.
Interesting. Which
So
she says the whole book, right? We just try and
yeah,
avoid it. Yeah.
I never used to be like that. And I read most of the time at night, and he's still scared to sleep on his own. So he's right next to me, and I'm reading this, and I'm looking over at him, and I'm like, oh my God, like just like I don't want to believe in mortality right now. I'm like, I have a toddler, and it's wonderful, you know.
And,
It
you know, and why do you think I was so? I always kept her with me. Always. I was a single parent. I divorced her dad very early on. So I was a single parent. So yeah, I can totally appreciate that.
Mm.
So the gore made it harder, but also it felt easier to detach somehow because it was physical and less emotional.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, it's more objective, right? Just like it is what it is, kind of. Yeah, when we talk like this, it's so funny because we're at such a unique time in history. This is the exception. if we look historically, like you would have had 7 children by now because only 4 would have made it, or 3, if you're, it's just, yeah, it's interesting how different things are now with modern science, but then it comes with its own ethical and philosophical ideas of like, just because we can, should we, extend life,
Yeah.
should, like, the quality of life versus, yeah. Mm. What do you think of the people that she worked with? I thought she was really amazing in how she was talking about all the people and like the different perspectives. There's no way you can work around death or in an industry like that and not become more aware of your own essence, your own philosophy, isness.
I kind of definitely related with the dark humor
Mhm.
because, like, in child protective services, like, we
Oh,
had
babe.
so many child deaths that at like a certain point, we just started naming them like toilet baby. And like, we would have like these inside jokes because we just saw so many
How do you
that
process it?
there was no way to process it. Yeah, except for with dark humor. So I related to that aspect of it of like, you're either going to cry or you're going to laugh. You have to do something with it. There's no middle ground with it. It's very extreme. Either you're laughing and you're feeling joy about it, or you're just in the corner crying hysterically.
Hmm.
That's really interesting because I think with all things will eventually become mundane at some point, right? The most exciting job in the world will eventually get repetitive. And that's the balance, right? Like it shows that even though it is serious and it has a weight, I no, I like thinking about this too. Like again, that great equalization that it's going to come for us all, and it is just something every day. Because what did she say? This is back. I think she made this book at like the early thousands, mid thousands. So the statistic she gave was like a body dies every 12 seconds on Earth, or someone dies every 12 seconds. That's mind blowing to think that as we're drawing a breath, someone's taking their last. And that is so overwhelming to sit with. There's just no way we can comprehend it all. Hmm.
She did a great job writing this book.
I agree. I really enjoyed her style. So back to the characters. What characters stuck out to you? Like what like approaches or um like how they dealt with it or how they interacted with it, or did anything stick out character wise?
The only character I just really wish I knew more about was Luke because she was like, I'm in
Yep.
love with this
Yeah.
guy, and then he's not there for a few chapters, and then suddenly he's back and he's like, I'm not in love with you, friend.
I didn't understand that because in the email he said, "Don't ask this of me."
Yeah.
And like, what did she ask? It was a weird. She didn't. She left that kind of like open, which was weird.
Yeah,
He's
that
like,
is
"Don't
kind of
contact me
true.
again, and don't ask that of me." And I was like, "Wait,
I'm
what? What
guessing.
did she say?"
I figured it was like she was like, let's be in a relationship, and he was
Yeah.
like, mm.
That's how I took it too.
Yeah, that was my interpretation.
I had just recently had to do some work on myself at the turn of the year. And there's this idea of how I project onto people what I want to see rather than what they are, even when they're telling me who they are. And I kind of got a sense of that just coming from this of this what's the I forget the phrase, the term. See, it's really stuck, huh? But this idea of we're having 2 totally different experiences, and she was
Yeah.
alone and isolated in a different city away from everyone. This was her life. It's all consuming. And then what a random switch too, where she was in the forest scene talking
Yeah.
about wanting to kill
Yeah.
herself. Like that's crazy to me
That
too,
was wild.
because I would think too, naturally, I would think if you're around it all the time, like like an emo kid, if you're contemplating and stewing about death all the time and like the blase of life, like it's only a matter of time before you contemplate your own, right? Like, this very Tim Burton Poe-esque
It seems
existence.
to be exasperated though by the Tim situation.
the Tim, which one?
Or not Tim, Luke.
Luke. Yeah.
Look at me. That was a Freudian slip of your ex.
Oh.
But I mean, Luke, his name is kind of forgettable because again, he's only mentioned in like
Yeah.
these tiny bits. You're just
Yeah.
like, what?
Which I think
Tell me more
adds to the
about
whole
him.
point of like he wasn't really invested. Like they had so much
No.
distance and time between them, so she was making it more in her mind than ever was there
Yeah.
to begin with. Interesting.
I really liked Chris. I wanted
Yeah,
more of
me too.
Chris. I feel like there could have been a
Yeah.
book of Chrisisms.
Yes.
Brilliant book.
Yes. Chris and Mike. I just thought they were fascinating.
Yeah, I really liked Mike.
Because it takes a distinct type of person to work in this field to begin with, right? And for him to be the grounded, get things done guy who just runs the operation, but still she shared that moment where he was talking about the little girl and then thinking about his little girl and how it, even as stoic and stone as you can be with that and like as monotonous as it can get, it still comes up at you. You know what I mean? It's still going to catch you off guard.
And I liked when she came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really fun.
That was
Yeah.
nice. Like full circle.
So I kind of wanted to talk about our personal experiences and reflections reading this. What are some things that made you start questioning your views on death, dying, mortality? I know that's a huge can of worms and why we're painting or being creative, but I think it was really compelling when she was talking about when she was a teenager, seeing that little girl in the mall fall off. And that's traumatic. That is an intense way. Like, usually, our first experience with dying, I would say on average, is like with our first pet, right? Our childhood pet or maybe a grandparent, but it's very kept from us. So to see something so visceral and the thud she talks about, like just the impression it left on her, um, emotionally, psychologically is just. Has anyone here had an experience like that? Sarah, I know your social work, bless your heart, but like early experiences with death, I feel like we were really removed from seeing death. It's definitely touched our family, but
I did.
yeah.
I did as a I wasn't even a teenager yet. A very close friend of my mom's, her husband was very abusive. And I believe he shot her in the head.
Wow.
And we went there. We went there, and then unfortunately, I've had several people commit suicide, and I don't know why I have to be a part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very hard. But that was my first one. It was definitely not a pet.
When you
It
say
was
you
her.
went there, what do you mean?
We found her.
Oh, God.
We found her, took her to the hospital, what we call the ambulance, took her to the hospital. And then I remember when my parents went to the hospital, they left me in this basement. And I'm like, I wasn't allowed to go
Of all
anywhere.
the places
What, the
now,
70s?
Oh
In the
no.
basement of the hospital. I'm like, where all the dead people are? Seriously? Can't I just see her? They're like, no, you don't want to see her. And my mom would describe her to me. No, you don't want to see her because she looks like this, and that. I'm like, we've already seen her. How much worse can it get?
Well, and knowing Abuela, she does describe everything. Like she's like, you shouldn't see this, and then describes it viscerally. And
Okay, that's exactly what she did. I'm like, I've already seen it. What more?
Oh,
like, thank
man.
you. I have the image in my head now.
Hmm. So how'd that impact you, do you think? How's that shaped and formed? Or did you, like she said, spend a whole lot of your life trying to forget it, ignore it?
No,
Yeah. How
My
can
mom
you,
was
right?
Embraced
obsessed
it.
with death.
No, I embraced it. Those were the brown sofas when remember I told you were so special to me because they were hers.
What
We
are you
kept
talking about?
the brown sofas that I took to the apartment when I married your dad.
What brown sofas?
Okay, you don't remember. Anyway,
I wasn't born
kept-
when you married my father.
I know. I just
Just making sure.
you've been with me for so long. Um, no, I think it didn't, I never had that experience. I think Danielle used to call me morbid.
Yeah,
Um,
You
interesting.
but
are.
it was just, it's natural for me because I think because I speak to so many dead people,
Yeah.
naturally that I'm like, you're not dead. Not even the animals are dead. I've seen my own animals. Every single animal has come to me, people that have passed on, I've spoken to. Her husband's family is super connected. And I'm like, I throw out stuff that
Yeah, honestly, Sean should be in this conversation. He has experienced a lot of death.
Yeah. Did you talk to him at all about some of the stuff that you?
A little bit. We haven't had like the full, because I think I changed how I want to be.
don't tell me you want to be buried.
No.
Oh,
I kind of like the natural. I like the
Yeah.
idea of just being left in
Which
the
kind?
yes. Yes.
So traditionally, I would say most cultures are like, why would you leave something of value, a person, out to be picked apart by, wild animals, right?
But I love what she said. You're feeding the other animals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
I
and
love that.
It's the cycle, and it's
Yeah,
the
it's
cycle
cycle
of life.
completed.
Right.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with cremation. That's what I wanted before, but I don't know. I think it almost now feels like the cycle interrupted a little bit.
Big time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even if you get your ashes scattered. But also like something we've talked about, so if you keep the ashes, 'cause I know a lot of people do, they keep the urn. What happens? So like if you get cremated, we have your urn.
And then
And
you die.
yeah.
So now you have
What does Felix do with like does he just carry around a whole like 7 generations of ashes? Like what do you do?
there's a
That
sandbox
was the
eventually.
conversation that I was going to have with you.
And box. Oh God.
My mom doesn't want the urns. My mom doesn't want my dad's ashes.
I mean, I see both sides. I really do.
I do too.
I would want them, but I would not hold on to them. Like I would.
Right.
Yeah, I
My
think
aunt,
when you're ready to let
yeah,
go of them.
because it's the grieving, right? There's the acceptance, like she says over and over, and we've all know, especially if you're spiritually inclined in the sense of like if you believe in something greater, like the body is just the vessel, right?
Right.
Once the life force leaves, you're gone. So
Right.
really, it's about us. I just posted something in our group a few weeks ago. I think it was Sylvia Brown, and she was just at one of her live events, and so she's like, "Let me start with stop asking if they're happy." Like
Yeah.
they're happy. They don't care what you
Mhm.
did with the body. They don't care
Or
what
do
you
they
did with the
forgive you?
car.
Stop
Yeah.
asking if they forgive you. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that's not us anymore. So do what you will. And exactly like you're saying, the natural cycle of just returning, letting
Yeah.
it. I think the closest legally we can do in this country is like the tree thing, right? Because it's contained in a certain way. What did you think about how she was saying how sanitary bodies really are in the sense of like, I I had a
I
little
thought it was
pushback.
interesting, like with her own grandmother, that they were like gaslighting them. Like, you have to do this within 2 hours. And they're like, no. And they're like, it's the law. And she's like, no, it's not. Like they were
Yeah.
gaslighting her into it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is because I don't know our states laws on it, but if you want, is it our property? Like obviously it's your property until she said until. And so I guess when they inter the body, then it becomes the property of the funeral home or the plot.
I would
I'm
assume
I
once
would
they
imagine it
perform
has to
services on
do.
it, maybe.
like, what if I wanted it back? Like I found somewhere better in Miami. Like
Our bodies all
Well,
the time.
She
yeah,
had said
but you
she had
have
said
to
in
get a
the book
warrant.
that
say again, Greg?
she had said in the book that if she, in this conversation with this woman that was asking or was questioning why she had to charge the $170 fee to view her mother one last time,
Yes.
she had said in that section that the woman had said to her that she just wanted to take her mother now and put her in
Yes.
her back seat and go, that she would have totally have done it.
But I feel like most places will fight back against that a lot. And is that because it's money or because they feel like can't be trusted? Like,
Well, I think she said in that whole little blurb is it would be too shocking for her to actually see her
Yeah,
not
the state she's in.
prepared.
Yeah.
And that's why they push back on it.
Curious. Wendy, what, like, obviously, so Wendy she sent me a text. She's like, I gotta confess, I didn't get to read it. And I'm like, come still, like, I, our parents are getting to an age where we're starting to think about things and think about life differently, this end of life phase, right? You know, again, it not necessarily in years, but my dad's going for surgery at the end of the month. And of course, thoughts are crossing my mind of like anything can happen, you know. But how many of us have actually talked to our family about what we want done with our body? I love how she had this really practical approach of like, we should have these conversations. It should be normalized. We should be talking about this all the time because what did she say? You don't want to have a bad death, like an unprepared death, you know?
Right.
It's actually interesting. I feel like I'm telling you guys everything about me tonight, but
I love it.
my father's also dead. And right before I went to see him in hospice the first time, one of my friends, she was actually in school to be like a funeral director.
Oh, wow.
And she told me like, hey, you got to ask him like what he wants when he dies, because it sounds like he's getting pretty close. So, that was the first time I talked to, well, I knew that he wanted to be cremated, but beyond that, I didn't really know. But yeah, that was the first time I'd really ever talked to both of my parents about it and been like, okay, so what do you want?
What did he say? I'm curious. What was that
Um,
conversation like?
well, my parents were both in the Air Force, so he wanted to be cremated and then interred at the military graveyard. I don't know why I'm like blanking on what they're called.
Is that local or is it like a national one somewhere else?
There is a national one, but he was okay with the one that was
Okay.
not far from where
We
he
have a
lived.
lot of military in our family, and most have chosen that because it's taken care of for you, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, no, we've had them, they pay for the actual funeral, but they've been buried in their own cemetery. But he's going for Arlington. Like he wants to be buried in Arlington.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be local.
Interesting. This is fascinating too. Where she was talking about the body being donated to science
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
and how
Bury
there's
our
this
heads.
this big, what'd you say?
I said the scene where the guys came and dropped off the heads to her.
The heads and like the body parts, which I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of assume like when you
You do.
donate a body to science, it's going to, you know, be divvied up probably some way, like the eyes will go somewhere and like,
Yeah, but she said most of it goes to plastic surgery. And when
which
she said that, I was
pissed.
like, put me out so that the wolves will eat me rather than give
Seriously,
me to a plastic surgeon.
all I
Like,
could think
that is
about,
not what I'm donating my body for.
all I could think about was, yeah, some like college kids trying to sew me up or something. Like it was,
No.
again, it's the only free way to be buried or taken care of, right? And that I'll never forget, Sarah, Dad, when Grandpa had passed, he's like, oh, he made it this whole thing of like how altruistic he was of donating his body to science. And now I'm like, that's a Raven moment. Like I'm having this tunnel vision. Like,
Yeah.
do you think they just did it because it was free?
No, because he had the whole
He,
government burial. Like he had a whole
so he
funeral
did
and
choose this.
yeah, he chose to
I
donate.
couldn't remember.
He wanted that was his last wishes. He wanted a funeral that was a
Yeah.
government prestigious because he was a prisoner of war in World War II. So like he had a lot of stuff that like he deserved a proper burial, but
Yeah.
he wasn't in the casket. Like the casket they lowered was empty.
Interesting.
I
Like, and then,
actually,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, with my mother, there was actually a place where they would take most of her body for science and then cremate like the leftovers,
Interesting.
basically. So that
That
was
reminds
like
me of the lady who had her leg amputated and then asked them
yeah.
to cremate it. Like,
Like, what do you do with it?
what the
It,
fuck
it
are
was
you
probably about
doing?
that amount of ashes that I got. Yeah, it was a pretty light box. But she said like on her driver's license that she wanted to be an organ donor. So I was like, you know what? She did have this disease, her body's special. Maybe
Yeah.
it could help science somehow. And then like the place actually gave me like a list of things they did with her body. Unfortunately, none
See, I
of it was like
appreciate that.
ammunition or plastic surgery or anything.
No, see, that makes me feel good. Like that is
Yeah.
exactly what I was saying. Like I want a list or like to know where everything's going. You know what I mean?
I feel like they did that with Grandpa too, but it's very generalized. It's a very generalized list.
Okay. The plastic surgery bothered me, but she's also in California. So
True. A lot of plastic surgery over there.
Wendy, I'm sorry I cut you off. I asked you a question and then I kind of took it in another direction. But like with our parents getting to that age, like what are you had a friend you mentioned before in one of our meetings, like you had Nick, a college age friend who had passed tragically. Like,
Yeah.
do you talk a little about that experience if you would?
Oh,
Like,
well, I mean,
how close to the family were
um,
you? Like, were you a
what was
part
that?
of the process or?
Uh, not yes and no. His family, when he died, asked all of us, like that we kind of had this like close group of friends, and they surprisingly, I mean, in my mind, like their son just died. They instead of just making decisions, they asked around, like they're like, hey, did he ever say anything to you about what his wishes were?
Mhm.
And not so surprisingly for most of us, he actually had literally like a week before he died. Um,
Oh,
and he said 2 days before, because he was supposed to leave and go study abroad in New Zealand and never made it there. And because it was a snowmobile accident and he died so literally like 3 days before he was supposed to go.
Mhm.
And in that, like right before he left, our town to go like home basically before going off to New Zealand, he said to me, wouldn't it be horrible if I like crashed and like broke a leg and then couldn't go? And I was like, yeah, that would be horrible. You should probably not put that out there. And anyway, so when he died, basically, we kind of all gave the information that we had. But he had literally told me a week before he died that he wanted to be cremated and that he didn't want a big, sad funeral. He wanted basically everyone to throw a kegger and drink and be
Mhm.
happy and tell stories.
Mhm.
And we didn't quite get there with mom and dad.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but they like just they have a lot of family from out of state, and so they did like a little of everything. And it was kind of traumatic because they did an open casket funeral first, um, and then did cremation um after that. So we all had to go through the open casket funeral piece, which, when there's a lot of trauma to the body prior
Yeah.
to the embalming and all of that, like you can definitely tell. Um,
She
and
had
like
some really
one,
good stories about like the cover up process.
yeah,
You definitely want to read this book. It's fascinating.
yeah, I will. But basically, the one thing that stuck with all of us, and this is like so weird that we all had the same opinion, but he was really, really quite vain about his hair. And they didn't do anything with it. It was just like fluffy and it didn't look like his hair because he had I mean his hair was kind of longer, like I mean not super long, but like 3-ish inches long on top, and but it never looked that long because he would always like slick it back. And he like spent time on his hair.
Mm.
But they didn't do that. It was just like fluffy and like poofy kind of, and he had like super thick dark hair. And that was the one thing that bothered all of us. Not the fact that you could tell his hands were completely broken, not the fact, I mean, like there was a million things that you could tell
Because that's
from
his
looking.
essence, right? Like that's
Yeah.
who he really was. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like
Mm.
like a piece of his self, his personality, so that part was bothersome. But in the end, I think, they were just trying to do what worked for like as many people as possible because it was so like such an unexpected and tragic death.
Yeah.
They just tried to hit like everything that they thought would help everyone. In the meantime, though, I feel like they robbed themselves of what they really wanted.
Me.
Like his dad's particularly like super struggled for quite a long time with his death, and he went through, I mean, and I think a lot of people do if they lose a child, and he was 21, but
That's
still
so
that's quite
young.
young.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so his dad just he suffered immensely, and we all knew it, and like visited him even like after Nick's death, and we didn't spend a lot of time with him prior to that, but we were just like checking on him. Um, and it was a lot. Like and made us come over and like go through his belongings with him, and
Mm.
like take what we wanted and tell him what should go to who. Um, I think that might have been cathartic a little bit for him, but then they split his ashes. They buried half of his ashes. So he has a headstone and a plot like in over in his hometown. And then his dad took a trip to New Zealand
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
yeah, and spread the rest of his
Because
ashes
he's
there
there
because
with him. Yeah, he's
yeah,
absolutely there with him. Mm.
yeah. So he spread the rest of his ashes there in the town that he was supposed to like stay in, since he never made it there. So it was kind of like a little of everything, like literally everything that you could think of they did, except for turning it into fireworks, which was one of the things he said to do.
How do we feel about people becoming jewelry? Like taking the ashes and doing jewelry with it.
Okay, so my husband and I have talked a lot about what we want done. Uh, because again, he has had a lot of experience with death. And when Abuelo started getting, to the point like he's in hospice and we've had a few scares. Um, Sean, like one of the days that it was really bad and we were coming over here for something, he had prepared this whole speech to my mom because we know how sentimental you are. We told you this.
Go ahead.
And he was like, I need to tell your mom right now that the jewelry thing is a scam. I read all about it. He like did a deep dive on this into all this research, and he's like, they don't put the ashes in. They just use low quality jewels, diamonds, and they pass it off as ashes, and it's not real. And I did all this research, and I was like, okay, I guarantee you won't need to give her all of your sources. You can just tell her. And he did.
I am upset. One, I have to admit, I didn't really know how it worked. I thought they literally just put ashes in a little vial or like a holder and then built something around it. But there are places that are supposed to take the ashes and compress them to make a gem.
Yeah, apparently that's not a thing.
Oh,
Oh,
God. That speaks to the industry again, doesn't it? It's just, how many of you have had the feeling that the mortuary industry had these like darker seedy undertones, like they were going for money and stuff? Like, did anyone ever feel that way? Like, or is it
I've
because we're
always
so
thought that.
vulnerable while it's death, we're so vulnerable at that moment, it's easy to prey upon? Like, what do you think about
Well,
that?
it's like the wedding industry. You have to prove how much you love how committed you
Yes.
are. And so they get you because they're like, well, this other package is like blah, 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 blah. And it's unless you're really secure in your marriage and what you're doing, you might fall for that. And I feel like it's the same in grief. Like Chris
Big
was
time.
saying with the one lady who was overreacting, it's guilt. He was like, I've seen this before, it's guilt. I'm
Yes.
sure guilt is a huge motivator for the funeral industry.
Well, she kind of talked about how that speaks to one of our fears of like losing our identity. So they'll say like, don't you want the urn that has like fish on them, and like, don't you want the casket that has this color because it keeps their identity and makes them personal, and when really all you're doing is just upselling them on a product.
I immediately thought of you, Daniela, while we were reading, because I was like, we're servers, so like, we're trained to upsell and blah blah. It's salesmanship, and it just said like it seemed so unethical and like ick to like think. What'd she say?
I
Like
don't
the
think I could
rose?
do it.
Wouldn't she prefer the rosewood? Like,
mhm.
ew.
And we're so trained to hear sales. Like I feel like I am so quick to pick up as soon as a salesman switches on to their pitch.
Yeah.
Like they feel when they soft and they're like trying to just talk to you and then they switch. I'm so sensitive to it that I just feel like if someone ever said that to me, I'd be like, what would you know?
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Give me the body back.
Interesting. So let's talk about grieving a bit. One of the aspects of this book is like we're divorced from the process, the natural process of how we go through death. And we don't even have to say, death in general, because there's a lot of all life is little deaths, right? Like we're constantly going through these seasons of death and rebirth and new cycles. And so what do we think about this about how the grieving process works? Do you think if you wash the body yourself, out of the people here, like, would that comfort you? Do you think you would get something out of that? Or would that only make it worse? You know what I mean? Or would that be more intense for you? Like,
Well, I think it speaks to that tone of a lot of what we're missing now with people becoming more agnostic and
Mhm.
atheists is we're losing that religious aspect. So for some people, it would be comforting to clean the body because of a religious belief. I think it's more, what you're brought up with, what you're comfortable with.
Hmm. For me, it's connection, right? It's an honor. I remember one interview with RuPaul forever ago and talking about how his mother in her final days, one of the most sacred and intimate experiences he's had on earth was being able to take her to the bathroom and help her and wash her, like that the intimate sacred act of helping her in her most vulnerable, you know what I mean? And obviously she wasn't gone at that point, but there is something I think beautiful about that. But I also think it really depends on the connection and relationship you have with these people, And even if I like, I don't know, it made me think a lot. Like, yeah, like the honor. I think she was talking about Muslim culture. I don't know what culture, but she said um, Muslim culture, like it's an honor. You pick the person to take care of your body before you pass. And I thought that was really interesting. What did you guys think about the different cultural references how death is viewed in the different cultures?
It's really interesting. She's talked about um, like the tribes in the Amazon or
Yeah,
something.
the Wari, I think.
Yeah, and how they eat the body, and that they feel that that's the best way to honor their dead. And the other one where was they would put it's somewhere in the Himalayas or something that
Hmm.
they would slice the flesh off of the body and put it on the rocks for the vultures to take up to the heavens with them. I thought that was really interesting.
Excessive is what I thought. Leave the body
Yes,
out, but do I have to flay you? Like, come on.
yes,
But no, perfect sentiment, beautiful sentiment of that return to what is. Oh, I love that.
yes,
M- I feel
and
Buddhists are very much about like the ephemeral anyway. I think the mandalas and stuff, like all life is just a moment, right? And that's beautiful. I think that's an interesting tradition.
yeah. But for a Westerner to think of like just like slicing a body up and putting it out on rocks for the vultures to take up sounds really weird and macabre. But
Your
it
mom.
is, yeah,
Like,
I
I'm
know. But
totally down for you doing that with like after reading all of these embalming and all of that, like put me in a rock and let animals eat me. That's where I'm at.
well, your husband might have another opinion, but noted, noted.
I
Oh,
thought it was really interesting how she explained the meaning behind these rituals, and it kind of made
yeah.
sense. Like why they would eat the body and why they would leave it out for birds and stuff, and that's the only resource that these people have in the areas where they live, and this is their tradition, and we need to respect that.
Hmm. It is curious how culture develops and shapes and informs our views of death. We're obviously very Western, Christianized, Um, has anyone seen that horror movie Midsummer?
No.
Oh, it's intense, but um, sh- she goes somewhere not Slavic, like Norway. What would that area be called? Norway, Sweden.
The
What would,
Netherlands?
yeah, Netherlands. What would those people be called? Like that
Icelandic? Oh, I don't know.
yeah, I guess I'm thinking like traditional like Celtic, Norse,
Oh, Vikings. They're Vikings.
kind of that background, right? So in
Yeah.
this movie, she goes on this like trip with a guy she's been seeing, and she has like a crazy mushroom trip, and these people are all like holistic. They live in a commune and they're very spiritual, but they invite her to be part of a ritual that they have, and it's an elderly couple. And their society, she comes to find out, believes like at 65, your life is done. And so what they do from there is they toss themselves off of a sacred rock where they're not a burden to the community anymore, but they're also returning to nature. And I thought that was really interesting to think about when she was mentioning about how we deteriorate and like how 50%, there's a 50% statistic that you'll end up in a senior citizen home or an old folks home or, you know, just decomposing or like staring at the wall. And that we're not able to keep up with caring for people properly as we grow as a nation. And I thought that was compelling. And then I saw that Midsummer and it made me think about like, what do you let's talk a little about, if you're comfortable, suicide, assisted suicide. I remember seeing a Grace and Frankie episode where a friend had come back.
Yes.
Um, you saw it? I love that
Yes.
show. The show's so
Yes.
good. But her friend comes back and she's like, I want to throw another party. And as it comes out, she's like, but this is going to be the last party. And she wants to have a big celebration. And at the end of the night, she was asking her friends, Grace and Frankie, would you help me? I'm going to make a big bowl of pudding with a ton of like
Yes, the
whatever.
banana pudding.
Yeah, banana pudding with a ton of the medication in it so she can just go in her sleep. And I thought, I would love to ask you guys how do you feel? What do you feel about this idea of, I think it's becoming more and more common to hear about these ideas of assisted suicide, like after Robin Williams and like these
I think it's
cultural,
legal in Washington and Oregon right now.
yeah, yep, the Northwest is definitely leading it. But I mean, in Europe, it's very common. They're building machines to do it for you. You know what I mean? And compost you. What do you guys
Oh,
feel about that? Has everyone experienced a suicide or been like in the family or not personally?
I think when it comes to that level, I would want to have the choice.
Yeah.
Because like they said, like with her grandmother, she was fine. Then she had that head injury and she lived for like 8 more years, but she was not the same woman. And she was
Oh,
constantly terrified and like fearful. And I mean, that's not an existence I would want.
yeah. And she also made the point, if that had happened 100 years ago, she would have died from that injury.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, that quality again, quality, quantity of life kind of thing. But so I agree. Like, it's not a judgment thing, but how do you feel about, I don't know, it's just interesting that suicide chapter where she was talking about wanting to take her life in the forest was really compelling to me. It was really, I I have not been there yet. Thankfully, I do think we all get to a point in life where you you contemplate things, the dark night of the soul. But um, it just, again, I haven't been there, so it was really compelling for me to hear her thoughts and like where it came from and how she kind of came out of it.
ultimately, I think it's your life, it's your choice.
Mhm.
I think that we should, if anyone was thinking about doing that, that they should be in a good mental health place.
Yeah.
But
Grounded,
so
right?
grounded, yes, that they can make their own decisions about their life. I'd be okay with that. But with someone that might be on drugs or might just be going through something like really bad mentally, I think that they should be watched and not allowed to do that.
Would Would any of you be able to do that to help a friend?
I would.
I would too, I think. I think it'd be very difficult and it would take a lot of consideration. But if I knew they were sold on it, I want to believe that I could help, offer them dignity through the process. But God, that has a different weight to it, doesn't it? Like, oof.
Yeah.
Coming from a spiritual stance, does that change? Because I find a lot of these psychics, mediums, a lot of the stuff I've read and encountered, people I've encountered over the years, they're talking about when you do take yourself out, there's a karmic uh, application to it. When we take away the will, or I'm sorry, not when we use our will to take away the natural process. I thought that was really compelling. Did anyone think about this or?
I haven't gotten to that chapter yet.
Oh no, it wasn't in there. It was just me thinking about like
Okay.
the application, like to bow out early. Again, it's not a judgment thing, but again, I wonder if because the
I
impact
think
it
there's a
has.
difference because the theme of what she's speaking about is if you know you have something terminal
Big
and
time.
it's going to be long and painful, that's different as opposed to somebody doesn't have resources to get the mental health help they need.
Mhm.
And it feels like it's a waste of life in the
Yeah.
sense of they're young when they just, if they would have had access to resources, it might have been a different story for them.
I had a friend that killed himself at 21. And I often think about because I was visiting him the night before and he seemed fine. But when I went back to his house, like the next day, I knew something was off. As soon as I looked at his window, I knew something was off. I knew he wasn't there anymore. But what happened after he passed away is he came back to me, and this is where I'm iffy on the situation. He came back to me, but he came back like as though his physical body had decomposed. And remember
Ooh.
to this one? Yeah, Bluestone.
Yes.
And he put his arms out and he was coming at me like, I don't know, but he was, definitely in my vision, like I physically saw him. Not like I would
Was he
see you, but
decomposed?
I'm sorry?
In your vision, was he decomposed?
Yes, yes.
Like a horror character?
Yes.
So what
Yeah.
did that represent to you? What did that mean to you? Because I would say
That
there's a huge psychological implication with that, but
right. That made me think, did you, like you were saying, did you waste your life? Because it was over a girl, it was over his girlfriend. She wanted to break up with him. Um, and I thought I was being a good friend, supporting him, trying to get him, out of that depression. Um, but yeah, so when he came back to me sometime later and came at me as though, decomposed and stuff, I didn't know what to think about suicide after that because I was so young.
Mhm. It's interesting too, because a lot of mediums and paths say that I've read, again, experience, research. They say that the spirit chooses how they represent themselves, and it's usually in our youngest, most vital form when we come through, or it's just energy of like our vitality, our light, our personality. So I think that's really interesting. Yeah, curious.
In that book, Many Masters, Many Lives, it talks
Ooh,
kind of
good one.
about when you do commit suicide at a younger age before your time, even though I mean technically is your time because you made the contract, but
Right.
um your soul kind of has to go in a waiting period just to kind of heal. And you kind of get placed on like I guess you could say like a spiritual probation where you really have to take the time to work through the damage that you caused to others as well as, the life that you wasted.
Interesting. Interesting.
Wow.
So is it that could be a great segue for another book too. Has anyone read Many Lives, Many Masters?
No.
Oh,
Wendy, have you? You
Yeah.
smiled. You
Yes.
have?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I would love to. There's a few different versions. I want to say The Seat of the Soul was one that was in Oprah's book club. And Sarah, who's is it Dolores Cannon? She did a lot of
Yeah.
past life. Yeah. There's a
Yeah.
few different, but there's these commonalities between, and I've heard that too, like after we pass, there is a life review. This is not just like one religion. This is very common in a lot of religions, but like religious belief systems and stuff. But a lot of these, again, in my research, is we go through a life review where we experience and feel every action and we see every ripple that we've created and every connection tie and how it's manifested, so we get a full understanding. Our soul absorbs that understanding of how connected we are, but our impact as well, right? Good and bad, not just the bad stuff. That's trippy as hell to even consider, but hmm.
But
But there
isn't
is,
the purpose of coming here though?
say it again.
Isn't that the purpose of coming here? So we,
School, it's a lesson,
right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have to review everything that we learned
Big time. I definitely
and
I
do it again.
definitely have come to
Right, and do it
believe that.
again. And hopefully you learn, don't
Looking
come
at
back and
you,
do the same
Adrian.
thing. Shut
The
up.
karma.
It sucks that we come here not knowing anything, though.
That's the whole gag, right?
Mhm.
That's the shitty gag. We have to
We have to
remember
relearn
ourselves.
everything. Remember, yeah.
Yes. Yes, but we can. It's just a matter of putting in the work, right? And that's why I think this law of karma is really fascinating to me, of because the nature of the universe is equilibrium. There's always a balancing. Just like you drop water in a pond, that point in the pond doesn't raise up higher, it finds an equilibrium. So all energy works and manifests this way, right? So even our soul ties, our soul karma, what we put out energetically has to be balanced out, if not in this lifetime, another lifetime, like according to the Vedas anyway. But if we look at the way energy works in the universe, protons are always looking for electrons. There's always an equilibrium that's trying to neutralize. So the law of karma makes sense to me very much. But wow, we've been all over the place on this. I'm sorry. Other thoughts, other impressions from the book, or just musings on death. Anyone want to get out Poe and start reading?
I had to do a college project on Annabelle,
Random.
which is funny because it's mentioned in the book.
Yeah.
And it was we had to do a video project. I don't even remember what this class was anymore. Like it wasn't English, it was something. And we had to take a poem and put it like reenact it, essentially, like make visual art with it. But
I am so down for this.
oh, I can send you.
I'd love to
It's
see that.
super cheesy, but it's Annabelle. So I played Annabelle and I like wrangled in my friend to play the angel, and then my other friend was Poe.
Tell us a little, because I'm thinking Annabelle at first when you first said it, with these Conjuring movies and the doll, but the poem, right?
Yeah, the poem. So it's his love, Annabelle dies. And so she's buried by the sea. And so it's
Yes.
a little repetitive. So in her sepulcher by the sea. So then by
Yes.
the end of the poem, he's like getting in the grave with her. But he like talks about how their love was so great, the angels had to come and take her because they were jealous of like this insane connection that they had. And so it's very funny.
I love that.
Very gothic, very dramatic.
Very gothic, very, yes. That is a vibe, isn't it?
It
Like,
is.
was anyone goth or emo in high school?
I wasn't allowed.
Would you say, Diana? Kinda?
Yeah.
Goth adjacent or emo adjacent?
I was somewhere between the two. I was always a very sensitive
Emotional
person.
God.
Yeah.
Are you born and raised here in Orlando? Around here?
Were you asking me?
Yeah.
Well, my parents were in the military, so I was born
Oh,
in
lovely.
Nebraska, but I only lived there for a little bit. We lived in Alabama for a little bit, and then most of my life I lived in Clearwater.
Okay, gotcha. So have you been to the castle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like your jam for sure. I haven't been there in years. It's like a goth club, but it's set up like a medieval castle, and they have all the chains and the, Iron Maiden and crows and lanterns. It's a good time.
Where?
In Tampa.
Oh.
Yep, in Ybor, I think, if it's still there.
It is, yeah. By the
Yeah.
time I had gone there, though, I already lived in Orlando. I actually moved to Orlando to go to UCF when I was 18.
Hmm. Yeah, that was an experience. That was a good time. I felt like an anthropologist on a research trip. I was like, "Oh, madam, the flogging, how long does it last?" Like, did any of the deaths and rituals and perceptions, with the different cultural perceptions, did any of that change how you have considered your own death? Like how you want to be buried, how to take care of things, like maybe even have conversations with family members?
I didn't realize cremation wasn't environmentally friendly, so definitely
Mm.
rethinking that now.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? And what was
Yeah.
it? She said there was even like a doctor who or a engineer who was talking about how using the energy from the crematoriums, the heat put off to to power other things,
Yeah,
because
that's really cool.
it's constantly going to happen. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely an industry that will always be around. So fascinating. Hmm.
Yeah, a good question. I think the more I think about it, I really want to be thrown in the woods.
Yeah,
I'm just second nature to being outside. I love being within the trees. I'm
me
one of those
too.
tree huggers, tree talkers.
It's peaceful.
I
And I
bear
get
to my
why
daughter.
I was young.
when
It
she
is so
starts
beautiful.
talking about the redwoods, I haven't seen the redwoods yet. I really want to go. Sarah and I have been talking about doing that. And how majestic and all encompassing. I think it would be so peaceful and serene. Hmm.
I kind of feel like when she said she wanted to jump off, she drove so fast and she gave instructions what to do with her cats and her body. I'm like, I for whatever reason, because I'm always working when I'm listening, and it kind of took me for a loop. I'm like, she's gonna commit suicide? What?
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere.
What?
But I feel like those thoughts kind of do, don't they? I love how she positioned that because it's not rational, usually, typically. It's yeah, how it overcomes you. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a few things I wanted to talk about in the Oh my God, the part about the large woman.
Oh yeah.
They
Mm-mm.
had just so Wendy, they had just refinished the crematorium, the cremator. They have like a
Boring.
concrete floor, and normally it was all pocked, and it was time to redo it, refinish it. And they put the very first person to go in there was a very large woman, and they were talking about how the fat, when it breaks down, it deposits and it becomes a liquid, and it started seeping out the doors of the cremate. And so she was like, they were running to get buckets and they were like scraping it up with broom pans and like just trying to keep it because it's just going everywhere. And she said she never felt more alive. Like, if you want to talk about coming to the moment and like being thrust into reality of what life is.
I would have walked out. I'd have been like, sorry,
Oh, like what? I
this
just
is done. I'm done.
Didn't you read that
the
part?
scene
Yeah.
she describes where she just like falls against the wall onto the floor with like fat deposits all over her dress and boots, and she's just like,
That's gross.
ah, oh, but that's life, right? Like, how many times have we cooked a meal and you're like, this is a lot, like this is this is too much, But that biological tie and reality that we are, that I'll never forget that image as long as I live. That was so visceral.
Mhm. I actually like I really hate like gore and horror movies and stuff. Like I just can't do it. But for some reason her descriptions of things, like even though they were so visceral, did not bother me. I was
Yeah,
just
how come?
that one, I was like, oh, it's so gross, but at the same time I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I'm I'm here with her on this ride.
Crazy. And the thing was, I felt worse about the labor of having to do it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was more the
So
chore and the
true.
task than like, ew, it's gross. But
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I felt so bad for her. Like, God, that's just like a layer of hell, you know, like
Hmm.
some Herculean task or labor. Oh,
More like a Sisyphean.
yes. What
Yes.
is it? Sisyphean, like
I meant it's.
task.
Mhm.
So what are we creating? It looks like everyone's doing stuff. What are you guys creating?
I am doing my embroidery.
Nice.
So it's my shirt. I just started it. My plan was to start before so I could finish it here, but I didn't. So it says future ghost. So I just yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm coloring. Oh, it's blurry.
Butterflies have
You can
been,
see that there's a butterfly there.
yeah, butterflies have been all over this week for me, like popping up everywhere in images and literally everywhere. Hmm.
You know, that's funny. She says future ghost. I remember sending her a little picture and she doesn't remember. And because I've always been spiritual, so of course I have to tease her. And I told her the day I died, there was a little picture. I'm floating above her and she's doing whatever she's doing inside her apartment or house or whatever it was. And I'm coming over her and I'm like, boo. And she's like, ah! She starts, oh, I'm sorry. She starts screaming.
It was like
I'm
an
like, that is
emoji
so
or
her.
like
Yeah. But it was
Cute.
so funny. I'm like, this is exactly you. This is what I'm going to do to you. Remember that.
if you can.
I can.
I don't know. Your communication is pretty bad. I think
Oh my
that's competitive too.
Look, when we're over there, I don't have to talk to you. I can
Ooh.
talk that till
Oh yeah,
with you.
It's so good. You're so good. You're so good.
That's why I don't need my words.
There's something to need.
I'll kill you with my thoughts.
Okay.
Is there someone that you would haunt in this life if you could?
Oh gosh, probably.
Yeah.
I hope
I
I
feel like
do.
that's a lot of effort too. Like that's a commitment,
Yeah.
but too funny.
I hope I haunt the people who have wronged me.
Yeah.
I hope they think about me.
That I thought was a interesting or a compelling aspect too of like this idea of it being the great equalizer, you know, the good and the unjust all die the same, right? And it's the only great, again, neutralizer. So how does that play into our ideas of morality and like the idea of Christians being wanting to, well, expecting to be raised again, right? And I just, yeah, I love the history she put in it, especially the Middle Ages. It's fascinating to see how many of these tropes and beliefs and philosophies that are still perpetuated in the practices we do today, you know? Well, any other ideas? We can wrap it up if you guys are good. Was there anything else that struck your fancy?
I think I would love to spend a few days with her in the
Yes.
crematory. I think that'd be fascinating.
I think at the back of my book, I just ordered another copy because I gave it away. It looked like she had another book coming out. I don't know if it's out yet or not.
Hmm.
It says From Here to Eternity, Traveling the World to Find the Good Death. So I might pick up that one too, just because I really enjoyed her style.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, her style was really great. I feel like if I'd read somebody else like saying a lot of the things that she said, it wouldn't have resonated as well.
So, from a literary standpoint, the necessity of bringing humor into death, like it's non-negotiable, right? We have to
Yeah.
laugh about it because it's too serious, right? To consider our own mortality. Has anyone here, can anyone or would anyone say they are afraid of death or been afraid of death at points in their life?
Oh yeah, it makes me extremely anxious.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's sometimes when I watch movies, like one that really sticks out to me was I think 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, yeah, classic. Yeah.
When I watched that and it got really like I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. Just really existential, I guess. I
Yeah.
just like I had to stop.
Yeah. No, I
Like
get
no,
that
I can't watch this.
100%. What's the meaning of everything, right? Like,
Yeah,
what's the
exactly.
point? And I think there's a piece in that too when we get to a point where we're like, nothing matters, right?
Mhm.
Nothing really matters. No one's going to remember me in 300 years. Like, what's the point, right? But at
Yeah.
the same time, no one's going to remember me in 300 years. Like, what
Yeah.
am I here for? What's the point of it all? So it's weird how it can be that double edge. Hmm. Anyone else? I don't think I've ever been really
I
afraid.
I wasn't until I had a child.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Well, and I had, I don't know, I struggle to say it was a near death experience, but stuff definitely got serious after I gave birth medically for me. And
Oh,
so there was a moment where shit hit the fan. And because people were freaking out around me, and then those postpartum hormones, I was freaking out. I
yeah.
think like in those
Birth is
moments,
fucking stressful. Yeah,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
in those moments, I saw, my husband holding Felix and like staring at me, and like all these people are around me doing everything. And I was just like, is this really it? Like, I went through all of this and I had gave birth, and now this is it. I was like,
You were
but it,
pissed. I just did all this work.
yeah, like, come
I
on.
love it. No, I get it. I get it.
But it stuck with me because like that feeling of looking at, a newborn and being like, oh my God, you're not gonna have your mom.
Yeah.
That is scary. And I think my best friend, who is also petrified of death now, or she wasn't before, had something similar. She went sepsis after.
Oh,
They
oh.
didn't catch it because they discharged her. And she didn't want to leave her son, like newborn. And so her husband thankfully convinced her to go to the hospital because she was running like a massive fever and she just didn't look right. And thank God for Tony, because she wouldn't have gone. If he didn't push her, she wouldn't have gone. And she was already sepsis. So,
Wow.
you know.
I do, as she was talking, I was curious on how death affects men versus women too. Like again, with there was that line that I love that you always hear that mothers would always say of like, I brought you into this world and I can take you out. But that idea of that women would obviously be there at birth, but then they were also the ones that traditionally washed the bodies and prepared the bodies, you know. And I thought that was really fascinating too, of this cycle of completion. But what is death experience like from a feminine, again, not to like say it's got to be one or the other, but like yeah, with these different, you know, experiences we have, like expectations, even just this, like what familial expectations based on gender and hmm, fears of death. Oh, did someone say something? I was going to say, even the fears of death, how we look at death, why we're afraid of death, or why we would fear death, I think is a very different thing too. Like you were saying, from the standpoint of your child, you know, and I feel like Sarah had said at the beginning, a lot of white men are wanting to find out how to stay alive as long as they can because they want to keep their power. And it's just the motivations fascinating. Hmm.
I think I said last time or maybe 2 times ago, I don't know, whenever that was, that my daughter is adopted. So I did not physically give birth to her. Yet the the not necessarily fear of death, but that like anxiety about it still crept in anyway, even though because now she is 1000% mine and the responsibility is still there. So I think there is also a layer for women, specifically moms, culturally as caregivers,
Mm.
you almost feel like you don't have permission to die. Like I have said this multiple times, since adopting my daughter. I'm like, I don't have the privilege of dying. Like, eh, and I'm serious. I think that there is something to that, like white male wanting to extend your life, that privilege. And there is something of a disadvantage or an anti-privilege for moms in that. Like, even if you are suffering, even if you are, like going through the worst hell in your life, you can't check out. Like you're gonna fight so hard and you're to stay alive, even if it's horrible, for your child, right? Because who else is gonna take care of her? And like, and I'm married and my husband's great and all of that, but it's just something about that connection with your child when you're the mom.
Maternal instinct.
Yeah. And you feel like you would be like ripping their whole lives apart and you've seen other, you've seen children who lose a mom. It's catastrophic, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's incredibly difficult for them to overcome and some of them never do. It just creates this trauma and you don't want to be the catalyst for that for your child, right?
Yeah, a
So
burden. Yeah, for
mhm,
sure. Because you know all the implications and the
right.
effects and
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm. It's beautiful. I love this because it's something that we don't talk about every day. I'm glad you guys did this with me. It makes me happy. I really enjoy our talks, our group. I'm excited to have you all there. Friends, has this changed anyone's opinion of the industry, of what death is, how they look at it?
I know, having been to so many funerals, and most of them were burials, and the way she explained everything and how, the embalmment and um it just it for me it just solidified why everything at the end of the day comes down to money.
Yeah.
Before, I mean, that's kind of how I took it when she was talking about it, that the whole reason they started this was another marketing ploy.
Yeah. That was
That
fascinating.
was,
The history of how it came
yeah,
together.
that's the way I received it. And I'm like, it figures. It just figures. You had something natural that everybody was doing, at their own, based on their own, where they come from.
Well, I don't
Did
know.
she
I
really equate it with the post-Civil War era? Is
Yeah,
that
I was
when it
gonna
really
say,
shifted?
I
Yeah.
mean, Battle of Bunker Hill. I mean, they had a lot. Bunker Hill? I'm thinking of, anyway, whatever that battle was. They had a lot of dead bodies that they all of a sudden had to do something with.
Mhm.
And with the Civil War, I mean, they didn't have the luxury of time
Yeah.
middle of a war. So, I mean, I guess I understand the roots, but like we're not in a war anymore, so we need to evolve. The industry needs to evolve.
It does. And that's one definitely I definitely found myself agreeing with her of the industry should change. Like Europe is again already ahead of us with you know, the different types of burials and natural burial options and stuff. But yeah, I'm curious on the lobbies and in Congress for this kind of stuff too. Like who's making the laws that say, and who's teaching us the laws? That's the other thing. We don't know anything about these laws. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't have rights to the body, or like the body will start, it's going to be toxic and dangerous for your family within a few hours. It's crazy.
Gonna
It's
give you
crazy.
diabetes. That
I know.
I really did think bodies were toxic after people died.
Yes.
It's so crazy to me that they're not.
I do believe because we have the Middle Age. Like we have a
Oh,
lot of
yeah,
experience.
that's
Um,
fair.
there was one she said, I think it was God, what was the African country? She had mentioned a certain area where they um put them into the lake where they fish and
Mhm.
stuff like that, which again, that natural cycle, but like disease and how it spreads. But then she made the point that most diseases, the vast majority, die with the body. If the body's not alive to sustain it, the disease can't survive, again, save some viruses and stuff like that. But how sanitary, even with all the fat coming out of the cremator, like cremulator, like it's organic material. And if you are alive, it's hard to get sick by it, right? Because
Mhm.
I just thought that was fascinating too, of because we're taught like the Middle Ages and like pestilence, but it was people that were alive that were passing it, the fleas and the rats, and
Yeah, true.
you got to be alive to catch it, kind of thing. So a dead body
Mm.
within a few hours it's gross, but it's not going to hurt you. And I thought that was really
Yeah.
fascinating. Um, one of my favorite places I've ever been in my life was the Parisian catacombs. I don't know if anyone's ever been able to see those, but it was built out of necessity from the plague and all these vast sweeping diseases that would go through the city. One of the most popular, I think it was one of the most populated city in the world for many years during the middle, like uh, 13, 14, 1500s. And they just could not keep up with the amount of death that they had to. And so they would literally just throw bodies on top of bodies in these catacombs. And it got to a point where they would have to dismember them and put like femurs over here because they stacked differently and more, they efficiently. You know what I mean? But then they would make like designs and like art, but at the time, there's crosses made out of skulls and um little pyres like where they would burn bodies made out of bones. It's just like all this crazy stuff, but it was fascinating. Has anyone ever smelled death? Like I've encountered like the rotting animal in the woods kind of thing, but like when she described the smell of death, how it had, God, I wish I got that part down, but like
It was like orange and
orange
Mm.
yeah.
notes, licorice. That's what she said, licorice and
Yes,
orange.
that's the first one. Yeah.
That was fascinating. But then she said the next was like sour wine. And just as she went through these different, like, oh, that blew me away. That was really interesting. Hmm.
A lot of information in there.
Girl, like that you
Yeah.
won't forget.
Right.
I feel like randomly I'm going to be at a party and did you know
It's like Barbie. Do you ever
when
think
a
about
human
Barbie?
body liquefies? Oh. Well, guys, I would love to see what you have created, or when you finish it, take a picture and post it on the Facebook page. I'm doing a feather. I've been finding feathers all week, and I don't associate it with death, but it's just interesting that all this week I've been finding a lot of black feathers and stuff. So I found I actually have a feather that came to me while I was reading this at a Starbucks and just blew right across my lap.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Aw.
so that's my bookmark now. So that ephemeral idea. But
Babe,
yay.
babe, today when I was leaving work, a feather like blew right in front of me on the sidewalk, like just randomly. Like that's so weird. And I noticed it.
Was it black or
So,
white or?
no, it was like an like you could tell it was like an under feather, so I think it
Yep.
was a black bird, but the base of it was more white.
Hmm. Mine have been black, which is really unique. Because you
Mm,
always think white feathers, right? No.
right.
Okay, so for our next meeting, I'm going to push it out another week. So we'll do 4 weeks. Are we liking the 3 weeks? Is that
I
enough
think
time for everyone to finish the books and stuff?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. I want to check in because I know life changes. We'll do 4 weeks for this next one just because uh we didn't announce it early, so you can get it and like get an extra week reading on it. But the next book we're going to do is I can't even see. I feel so bad. I can't even say her name properly. Anodia, Anodia Judith. And she's a PhD. She's done a lot with energy work and like the subtle body and like different religions from around the world and like philosophies that talk about like, you know, traditional Chinese medicine, all these different paths and modalities that explore what the energy centers, the subtle body and how it works. And she definitely favors the Vedic system, which is the main chakra centers, these spinning energy centers that we all have that make life possible for us energetically. And each area, chakra, there's 7 major chakras, but there's ton more, which she doesn't really go into. But I thought we could do like a precursor. And if this is something that's really interesting, we can get into a bigger version. And I can even maybe even do like a little class or workshop or something if we want to do that sometime. But um, it's called this Chakras Made Easy, the 7 keys to awakening the energetic body, or I'm sorry, awakening and healing the energetic body. So I'll put a post, I'll make a little, you know, snapshot and put it up in our Facebook group. But this is just a great way to introduce it. And I love the philosophy, the tradition on it. I think there is just so much that is going to connect outside of this to other areas of your life. I mean, I've explored color theory through a lot of the chakras and understanding them, sound theory. Um, you because if we go back to this idea that, well, the knowledge that the universe functions in a certain way. There's a natural order, natural law to things. We have the color spectrum, but they've found correlations to the sound spectrum and to the, what do they call it, the Fibonacci sequence, and how we have all these like natural reoccurring systems in nature. And so when I start diving into chakra stuff and like energy centers, it all starts connecting to other stuff because it makes sense. It's just how energy moves and operates. You know what I mean? I'm talking like grids and like mathematical principles. And she doesn't get into that. This is again a very cursory, but yeah, I'm excited to try it. So I probably will do a little PDF with this one too because I want to start promoting the book club again. I want to grow our ranks a little now that school's back in session. Uh, but yeah, we'll talk. I'll put some ideas out there on like different chakras and what your experiences with them were before and then after. And did she talks about has anyone watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, that cartoon?
Yes, it's one of my
Oh,
favorite shows.
I love it. I'll put it up in our Facebook. There was a scene that was so profound. It was towards the end of the series where he goes to see the guru on the mountain. Do you remember that? Where he
Yeah.
makes him
I didn't-
drink banana juice and stuff. Like
Yeah.
he goes to him to unclog whatever's blocking him to get into the avatar state. And there is a scene like 10 minutes where these creators break down literally, like they go right through the Vedas and they talk about what I think a lot of Hindu and like the Vedas talk about like the demons or the shadow side of each chakra. So if you're blocked in one area, the chakra, like, so the root chakra is all about survival and the base energy and sexual energy, creative, like what motivates us, our primal connection to the earth. But the shadow side to it would be like, I think, well, I don't want to mispronounce it or misspeak. Where is it? Fear is what I'm thinking, but I don't know if that's it. But anyway, if you want to unblock or to get more of that energy flowing in your life, you address the natural shadow aspect of it, which is our emotional, you know, that emotional nature that blocks our energetic flow. And so like it's fear and lying and what is it? Yeah, fear. I know what I'm talking about. So yeah, fear. Um, it's just fascinating. I'm excited to explore this with you because I think it's going to be really interesting and it's going to open a few doors for us to explore some other stuff. So again, Onida, how would you say it? Anodea. Onida, Anita,
Anita?
Anita. We're going with it. It sounds like a southern church lady almost. But anyway, Anita Judith. Chakras Made Easy: 7 keys to awakening and healing the energy body. So we'll say a month out. Where's my phone? What will that be?
That should be the 2nd of October.
Perfect. Is that okay for everyone? Or do we want to do 3 weeks?
We can.
We can push it to the 2nd. That's fine with me.
Yeah, the second works.
1, 2, 3. Well, that's only 3 weeks. Is that enough time? Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. So the second,
Yeah. So,
it's an easy read. It's really quick because there's like a lot of graphs in it and it's a lot of space, a lot of bullet points. So that sound good? Sounds good. So I will make that and I'll post that for October the 2nd.
Yay.
Yay, guys. It was good hanging out with you. I love hearing, getting to know you.
likewise.
Good
Have a
hanging out
good,
with you too, Dave.
what'd you say?
Good hanging out with you too.
Same. Next session too, I want to hear what everyone's doing for Halloween. We have costumes.
Is that
You
a
guys-
Maine Coon, by the way?
Say it again.
Your kitty, is that a Maine Coon?
Yeah, he's a Maine Coon.
Oh, yeah,
He
okay.
is turning 16 in a week. He looks so
Aw.
good. I love
He
that
is
baby.
sweet as pie.
He is. He is a sweetheart. And he's
Mhm.
healthy. He's got a little sniffle right now, which again, after that book, I'm like just hyper aware. But love you guys. Have a good week.
You
You
And-
too.
too.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.